If you ever played Subnautica, you would know that you're not the only one who survived the initial crash. As you go through the game, you can find other destroyed life pods of the less fortunate, and you can also find the audio logs of how they all tragically died. And in this video, we're going to be going over each of their life pods and how they died, and see who had the most tragic death. Also, before we get into the video, I'm really close to 2,000 subscribers, so please hit the subscribe button if you like the video, of course. Getting into this, the Aurora had 50 life pods, but only 25 of them launched. And out of the 25, besides your own life pod, there are only 9 others to find throughout the map. So let's go over them. Also, huge shout out to Arabic, who let me use his cool Subnautica 3D renderings for the background footage. Go check out his channel if you think it's cool. First, we have Life Pod 2.
Flotation devices failed.
We're flooding. Evacuate.
Wait. I can reconfigure the O2 system to act as a bilge pump.
It's working.
Okay, good news. We're alive and we've stopped sinking.
Bad?
The oxygen's going to run out in 30 minutes and we're 500 meters down.
What do we do?
We'll have to use the remaining juice to send a distress call and build whatever gear we can. Then we find a way to the surface.
LifePod 2 crashes in the northern kelp zone and sinks to about 500 meters underwater, being the deepest LifePod crash. The LifePod has Chief Technical Officer Yu and Berkeley. Another LifePod sent out a distress call to reach a nearby island, so the two attempt to swim to the island, where Berkeley is killed on the ascent, likely by either a crab squid or a ghost leviathan nearby, and Yu makes it to the island, but we'll continue her story later. Now we have LifePod 3.
Really think it'll carry 2 of us?
Your regular sea glide tows a mass of 80 kilograms at over 30 kilometers an hour. The power cellar rig to this one should double that.
You think there's something out there that's faster?
Oh, sure. And that's assuming it doesn't overload 3 meters from the life pod.
You're calm about this?
I'm seeing the engineering problem. If I stop seeing the maths, I'll be terrified.
LifePod 3 crashes in the kelp forest close to the surface and in a somewhat safe area. Their sea glide is damaged, and as they try to make it to the rendezvous point on the island, the sea glide breaks and they both drown in the process. Next we have LifePod 4.
To any Altera crew. Landed in area of significant alien activity. Encountered predators in the Leviathan class, highly aggressive. Spectroscope scanner assigned species designator Reaper. One specimen attempted to swallow the life pod, doing extensive damage in the process. Only viable option is to make for the safety of the Aurora crash site. I have retrieved a data box with the creature decoy and enough resources to fabricate a couple of them. The swim's longer than the decoy lifetime, but it should just be enough to keep them busy. If you don't find me on board the ship, presume I miscalculated.
This is by far one of the coolest audio messages, with the unnamed crew member getting close enough to actually scan the Reaper and actually try to make a run for the ship, although he was kind of doomed from the start. His life pod is the only other life pod somewhat afloat, and even if he did survive, he is right in the radiation zone and would die soon from the radiation. So let's just say hypothetically, he actually made it to the ship and didn't die from radiation. Yeah, he's dead. He's actually just dead. LifePod 6.
Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. We're not in immediate danger.
Where are the rescue teams?
The Aurora didn't make it.
So, where are the rescue teams?
They're dead, ma'am. We have rendezvous coordinates, but the routes are radiated.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm head of human resources, ma'am. This is not my expertise. But the PDA says if we can find some lead, we can make radiation suits.
Out there! I am not setting foot outside this life pod without the proper protection.
Don't worry. I'll go. What are you doing?
You were gone so long. I thought you'd drowned.
Put the flare down.
I was going to try and attract someone's attention.
That's not a distress flare. Stop waving it around like that. You'll catch the fuel line.
LifePod 6 lands in the grassy plateau and consists of a Scottish lady and the head of HR. The Scottish lady lights a flare and blows them both up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think anyone really cares because it's the head of HR and it's a Scottish person, so who really cares? LifePod 7.
I've tried everything. The analysis circuits on the fabricator are fried. Can barely manufacture the most basic of materials. Want a battery? Here, have a children's toy. Need deep-sea diving equipment? Have some lab tech. Hungry? I'll turn that fruit into dust for you. I'm going forward with trial and error. I hit every button here has got to make something useful eventually.
LifePod 7 lands deep in the crag field, and his LifePod has a busted fabricator. He can't craft any tools or food and would soon die of starvation, until a bone shark breaks into his LifePod, killing him. Also, for some reason, I have the word Markiplier in my notes. I don't really know what this is. Yeah, his LifePod has a Markiplier toy that you can find. I'm really glad that there's no one left on the planet but you, but hey, at least you have Pocket Plier to keep you company. Imagine in your dying moments, deep underwater, it's just you as sharks break in, and there's just a mini Mark chilling next to you. This actually might be the worst fate yet. LifePod 12.
I'm not really a doctor. I know that's what my ID says, but I never have been. Cheated the medical exams. What does a doctor these days need to know about manually resetting bones? When was the last time a top surgeon actually cut someone open? That's what the robots are for. Doctors these days read diagnoses off of computer readouts. For that, I'm perfectly qualified. But what good is it when I'm not connected to the main network? I'm bleeding. I've got glowing green pustules growing on my hands. I run a self-scan and it tells me I've got skin irritation. The only thing I studied in medical school was how to lie convincingly. What the hell do I know about how to treat an alien disease? I think I'm actually going to die down here.
LifePod 12 carrying Medical Officer Danby lands deep in the bulb zone where he's infected with the subnautica disease and is also bleeding from an injury. The irony of this LifePod is he's an unqualified doctor and can't even treat his own wounds and would later die of blood loss. LifePod 13.
Live pod launch sequence initiated. Entering planetary atmosphere.
My creators, the cherishers and sustainers of worlds, give me this day my daily pleasures as I give to those who seek pleasures from me.
External temperature approaching critical levels.
Show me the path. In life, truth, and love for mine is the power. I am the one, on and off and on again.
Impact imminent.
Life is a game which the universe plays with itself. I am done playing as this bundle of flesh. Return me.
Yeah, I don't know what his yapping was about, but his ass died on impact. LifePod 17.
Ozzy's log. It's the day of the crash. I don't know what the heck is happening. I'm scared and I'm not going outside. There are shadows in the water under the hatch, but I can't tell if they're rocks or aliens. And there's weird-looking caves nearby. The Aurora was carrying everything needed to build the phase gate. Mobile vehicle bays, bioreactors, propulsion cannons. It had a cinema. There was a zero-G gym. My cafe. I don't understand how we're here now. I don't know why no one's coming for me.
Cafeteria worker Ozzy and an unnamed crew member land right next to the mushroom cave biome. With their life pod almost being crushed by the sea moth bay, their life pod sinks to the bottom of the ocean, where a crab snake from the nearby mushroom cave would tear through their hull, killing both of them. Life pod 19.
Keen, this is Aurora. Come in.
This is Keen. Life pod detached to cave planet 4 in 30 seconds.
The computer has identified a landmass at the attached coordinates. I want you to regroup the crew there.
Understood, but
They are your responsibility now. Don't let them down.
Captain, you need to evacuate.
Negative. You'll need the ship in one piece if you're going to contact HQ on the long range. I'm attempting a controlled descent.
Captain!
Second Officer Keen lands deep in the sparse reef and sends out a distress signal to the others to tell him to make it to the nearby island. Keen somehow swims all the way to the surface and makes it to the island unharmed, where he meets the girl from LifePod 2 there.
We have to board the Aurora, repair the long-range comms, make contact with the other survivors. We can't be the only two that made it.
Those are not the orders the captain gave me, and they are not the orders I'm giving you.
This isn't chain of command, it's survival.
My obligations as acting commander don't turn on their convenience. Get out of the water.
If I get into trouble, I'll send you my coordinates.
I can't let you go alone.
Then come with me.
You don't leave me much choice.
Received emergency transmission from Second Officer Keene, 2 hours after last activity.
Rendezvous was a failure. Intercepted a transmission from Altera HQ. Seems they sent a data package to the Aurora. We were intercepted by a Leviathan-class predator before we could reach the ship. Consider the CTO and I lost at sea. Be safe. Keene, out.
They literally both make it to the island, but for some reason, they go to the Aurora to find the other survivors, and Yu is then killed by a Reaper Leviathan, and Officer King would be killed later by a Warper. Now, that only really accounts for the life pods that are in the game, and you might be asking, what happened to the other 15 life pods that aren't in the game that also launched from the Aurora? Well, they either got crushed by the Aurora when it crashed, or somehow, even worse, they landed in the ecological dead zone, where they would sink until the pressure imploded and killed them, or they stayed afloat and were basically stuck in the void, being killed by a ghost leviathan eventually. So let's go over all the deaths and see who had it worse. Life Pod 2, Berkeley died to a ghost leviathan or a crab squid. You made it to the island and died from a reaper. Life Pod 3, both drowned making it to the island. Life Pod 4, either died to a reaper, radiation, or the Aurora explosion. Life Pod 6, both died to a Scottish woman lighting a flare and blowing them both up. Life Pod 7 died to a bone shark break-in and Markiplier. Life Pod 12 died from blood loss. Life Pod 13 died from impact. Life Pod 17 both died from crab snakes. And finally, Life Pod 19, Officer Keene made it to the island and would later be killed by a warper. And the other 15 pods being crushed by the Aurora, imploding due to pressure, or killed by ghost leviathans in the void. Me personally, I think the people that landed in the ecological dead zone had it worst, as it's literally just nothing until a giant ghost leviathan comes and kills you. And that's basically it. But that's kind of a lame answer considering you never actually see those life pods, so I'm gonna go for Life Pod 7. Being stuck in the dark, surrounded by bone sharks, unable to make any food or tools, and slowly starving to death until you're killed by bone sharks breaking in. And the goddamn Markiplier doll. That's the end of the video. I do hope you guys like it, and if you could please subscribe. I'm extremely close to 1,000 subscribers, but now I have to turn the question on to you. Leave a comment on who you think had the worst fate out of the other survivors. This video was a lot of fun to make, so let me know if you like the subnautica videos, and I should do more of them, but appreciate you guys for watching the video till the end. Hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace.